All right, let's see if this different setup works tonight. I don't know what works and what doesn't yet. I left my webcam out at the cabin, so I've had to try to rig up a cell phone to be my webcam for tonight. I'm anxious to see if anybody can see or hear me. Test, test, test. Can you hear me? What does this sound like? I guess I have to wait till somebody comes in. All right. Oh, well, thank you 1 second after. All right. Let's see if we can get some action going on this channel. Start working people up in here. Hey, Mountain Man. Lights came. All right. Everything's working. Wow. When I started setting this up or a little bit earlier, I went crazy looking for my webcam, or the one I use out at the cabin. I could have sworn I put it in my camera bag to bring home to use it, only I had no webcam. So, real quick, like, I had to figure out how to set up my Samsung phone as a webcam and make it work to do this live stream because I want to try to get these going. Yeah, the government's open, but not for our not for us. They're open for themselves. I kind of wish it wasn't open, but it's good that I mean it needs to be open. They don't own. I think again they forget we run this country. They do what we tell them, and everybody's forgotten that. They can't close our government without our permission to do such a thing. That's the way I have to look at it. Hey, Leroy, what's up, bud? I'm glad to see some of the old faces in here. I want to start making this channel more about prepping and survival because I think that's a pretty big thing. And I can do a lot more discussing it on here than I can my other channel. Because my other channel, there's a lot of people want to know about the house and want to deal with stuff like that as well. This, we can all just talk about prepping and survival and what's going on in the world without fear of repercussions. I got to work on my lighting in here. That's pretty obvious. It's a totally different setup. See, now if enough people show up, I'm going to tell you about these cans I got back here, the significance of all these cans of soup. Oh, what a delay. I got to figure out what's going on there. Jeez. Hey, Joe, did you? We got a couple of flurries. I mean, absolutely nothing stuck. It flurried for probably 45 seconds, and that's all we got as far as snow goes. Nothing stuck anywhere. Got cold. I'll have to say that one. It definitely is pretty chilly out there, but no snow to speak of. I mean, I wanted to throw the puppies out in the snow and nothing. All right, we got 7 viewers at least. We'll get this built up. It'll take a little bit of time, but we can make this channel the way we like it. I think I'm gonna rename it to just simply SBA Prepping and Survival because I don't get the time to do much bushcraft anymore like I used to and like I wanted to. Hey, Arkansas Prepper, what's up, bud? Yeah, trying out a new channel. Welcome. This is going to become my Wednesday night gig since I'm stuck in town. But we're going to get to teach people about prepping on this channel. There's like a 10-second delay, 15-second delay. I don't know why this camera is connected through Wi-Fi. It should be through a wired connection for this phone. I don't have my camera. So we're stuck with me going through a learning phase. You guys get to be my first shot at learning how to do this. All right, man, this delay, I got to figure this out. This will wait till more people show up. Get some more conversation going like the other one. I had to look you up, Joe. I never got notified. I'm not surprised. This is going to, again, I mean, it's the same with all the other channels. Uh, YouTube just doesn't work the way it used to. It's not it doesn't do that kind of stuff anymore like it started out doing. It doesn't notify people of anything. It's just, I mean, eventually everybody will learn that every Wednesday night I'm going to be doing this and they will get to look forward to it. And I think this is going to be the channel I'm going to be doing a lot of my reviews on. Especially a lot of the stuff I'm getting to do reviews on deal more with prepping and survival. So I'm really going to make this channel active. But I wanted to talk about all these cans of soup here. because the thing about being a prepper, right? For anybody that watches this later, I'll go ahead and explain this. You always keep your eyes open for opportunities, right? That's my whole life has been that way. Long before prepping any opportunity, you have to be awake and alert and ready for. Well, this morning I had to go to Kroger's to pick up a couple things for dinner tonight. While I was there, I saw these cans of Progresso soup, 8 cans for $10. Now these are normally $2.99 a can, so 8 cans for $2 made them a buck and a quarter. Uh, so it's like we eat the soup anyway, not like every day. But I got to think I was trying to explain this to Gail because she's not really on the same page with me. But this right here, I bought 16 cans for $20 is how it worked out to be. And if we were in a situation where we couldn't leave, we had to shelter in place or whatever, we were stuck here in Wheeling for a while, we could split a can of the soup, right? And we could have it over rice, to add to it, add, you know, potatoes, whatever, right? But that's 16 meals Gail and I could have for $20. If the situation arose. Um, so this, like I said, it we buy the soups anyway because every 10 days or so we have soup and grilled cheese or whatever. So these will just get thrown into the pantry and rotated into stock. But we will always have, we always have 20, 25 cans of soup in the house at all times. But to get those for a buck and a quarter today at Kroger's was amazing. Oh, Arkansas Prepper got notified. See, for some people you do, some people you don't. I don't know. But I think as I get more active on this channel and get more subscribers, yeah, I'm right around 500 subscribers because I haven't really done much with it. So as we become more active and add more subscribers, it'll probably get better with sending out uh, notifications and things like that. At least I'm getting the likes. That's good. This isn't bad for never having tried a live stream on this channel, or really much here from the house. I got my little corner here in the dining room that I can try to work with. I'm going to be playing with some settings as we go along. I guess I shouldn't mess with much. Okay, so I can't change the latency. I do have super fast internet here at the house, so it should be a whole lot faster than what it is. I'm just happy my favorite people are in here tonight. for the inaugural run. Mountain man, something I've been trying is when I go on a 2 day deer hunt, I think, what do I need if I'm in a situation where I can't leave my hunting cabin and have to stay there for a few more days? Do I have enough? That's actually, you got to think like that. You know, um, back in Cincinnati when I had the Boy Scout troop, there was a camp, a Boy Scout camp that we had available to us that had an old cabin on it. And it was owned by one of the Boy Scout troops in the area. They bought it during World War II. But if you went out there and did some kind of a project, then you could use it for the weekend for a camp out for your troop. And we took the guys out there one time during the winter, and our campouts were from around noon. You know, we left Friday around noon, came back Sunday around noon. So that was how every month went. We had a 3 day camp out every month. Well, that particular time, we got up to the cabin, and Saturday night we had a horrendous storm, an ice storm, and we were stranded at that cabin until Wednesday because we couldn't get down off that hill because all the ice. We had to wait till all the ice melted before we could get off the hill. And it was a great lesson for the boys, and it was a great lesson for us as scoutmasters to make sure that an event comes up like that. We were prepared for it. Now, you know, one of the things about Boy Scouts is being prepared. We were prepared. We had to ration out food once we realized what was going to happen. But Saturday night, after that storm came through and we knew we were going to be stranded for a couple of days, we inventoried everything we had and made a plan to make it last for 5 more days. We didn't know how long it would be, but we had enough that we could go 5 more days without worrying about anything. And that made us, from that point forward, every camp out, we thought about things like that. What else can I bring just in case something happens? We weren't really preppers back then. There wasn't a thing called prepping back then. But that's what we did. And, you know, the boys all learned lessons from that. I hope they carry that through today. Um, but we, you know, happen to have enough. But that's a really good test. And, you know, you could do that at home. You could say, okay, I'm stuck here, you know, for 3 more days, you know, and pretend like you're at your cabin and see what you have, see what you go through, what you have to have. That was a good test. That's why I like doing the every now and then I'll go out and try out my bug out bag, you know, or my get home bag. You got to do, you know, we've done overnighters with our get home bags. Just we go hiking somewhere just to see how everything we have works, and that's how we learn things that we need that we didn't think of, and things that we didn't need but we were carrying. So at least 3 times a year, me and a few other guys would do an overnighter somewhere. We would hike uh, and then stop and make camp and, you know, eat and get up the next morning and hike back, you know, just as a test to test out our skills, our knowledge, and the gear that we had so we could better, you know, assess what we needed. So it's definitely fun to do that. There's a whole lot to prepping besides just buying food. There's a whole lot more to that. Now that's something I've got to get back into. One of the things I've committed to this winter is to lose the weight again that I had lost and get back into shape, get back into walking and everything. Because I made this joke on my Facebook page that mentally I still feel like I'm 29. Humor wise, I'm like 12, but physically, I feel like I fought in the Civil War because I'm just beat. You know, the next 2 days are going to be very hard work out at St. Bernard Acres. I'm going by tomorrow morning and buying 24 more or 25 2x4s to take out there. And we're going to put on that addition, the little 8x16 addition, I'm going to put the floor down, the walls up, the siding on it. Uh, and then Friday morning, I'm going to buy all the roofing material, getting the trusses, the metal, and we're putting all that on to where the addition will be dried in. So it'd be a busy couple days for me. One second, I wish I still had my Boy Scout book. It had a lot of good prepping information. Yeah, they do. I've got two or three of them. I bought a couple off of eBay, different time periods. Uh, they're great books to have, great resources, great ideas from them. I'm telling you, I love having the Boy Scout troop. Before it became what it is today, I mean, we had a really good troop. Uh, we camped every month. We had a 3 day camp out, regardless of the weather. We never canceled a camp out for anything. That's just the way we were. I remember we were at Houston Lake, there north of Cincinnati. It was our December camp out, and we got there Friday afternoon. There was 4 inches of snow on the ground, and it was 9 degrees. And we had to set up tents, set up the dining flies, get wood, everything. And we spent the weekend out there. It never got above 10 degrees. Saturday morning, inside my tent, it was -6. And I'd get up, get dressed, get the boys up, get them moving, you know, and get breakfast going in the dining fly, and keep active for the weekend, to stay warm. Uh, it was great, and I had an old pickup truck, and the only thing I used it for was the scouts, and I would haul firewood and everything in the back of my truck, and we burned through the firewood. I mean, that night it just we went through it, and I didn't want to drive all the way back to Cincinnati to get more firewood. And I noticed at the state park we were at, they had all the firewood stacked back behind the office there, but nobody was there. The place was closed up because we were there off season. And I saw a like not a cop, but I forget what the ranger. I saw a ranger there, and I flagged him down and said, "Look, I got a Boy Scout troop out here. I know there's a bunch of wood back behind the office. Can I buy that wood? And I'll leave the money here for that wood." And he was like, "You have a Boy Scout troop out in this weather?" I'm like, "Yeah, we don't cancel campouts. We do it. I just didn't want to drive back to Cincinnati to get more wood." And he said, "You know what? If you're brave enough to bring them boys out here," he went and unlocked that gate. He said, "You can have all the wood that you need to get through the weekend." I'm like, right on. Oh man, I was so glad of that. And it's funny, we would have meetings before a camp out like that where we wanted parents to attend and explain cold weather camping and the gear that the boys should bring and stuff like that. And still, we had a couple boys, their mom and dad send them out there with tennis shoes, knowing we were getting sub-zero temperatures and snow and ice. They sent them with tennis shoes, no extra socks. I mean, I drove into town, the closest town we had that had a Kmart, and bought those boys some boots and bought. I spent so much money as a scoutmaster; it was ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, the boys learn. They survive that kind of stuff. Oh, my feet are cold. Well, go walk around. That'll get blood going in your feet again. That's how you get over the feet being cold. You know, uh, it was rough. I'll tell you. Hey, John Off Grid Garage. Hi there, buddy. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, I saw the House pass that Arkansas Prepper. It didn't do anything. It did absolutely nothing. You know. Now I saw a thing that Rand Paul was talking about that, um, all these states with the THC gummies that I like to take, and all these states with hemp farmers and everything, that there were some provisions in this bill that eliminated a lot of that. I didn't get a chance to look into it deeply, but it's like, why is that even a? Why would something like that even be in a bill? You know, I mean, all this did was buy time until January. It gets people through the holidays. It's been a little cold in Northwest Georgia. Just came over putting my crate motor together for my car. All right, cold in Georgia. I'll tell you, it's supposed to be. There's going to be some dips this year that Georgia's going to be like being in Canada. I hate to see it coming. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what good anybody got from the government shutdown. It's again, they shouldn't be allowed to shut down our government. That's not their say. It's our say whether this government shuts down. Again, we've lost all control. It went from they work for us to they control us. They're doing what they can to control us. And all that's doing is showing people if they take anything from this whole government shutdown is if you depend on them, if you depend on the government for your food or your housing or your medical, this is how easily they can cut it off. So you should never get yourself in a position where you're dependent on the government or on anybody else. You have to do it yourself. This was just a prime example of how they could end it tomorrow. Hey, Teresa, all right. We got another one in here. We're going to get these Wednesday nights having fun. This is my trial run. But yeah, Mountain Man was talking about the government being open again. Again, what do you mean by you close the government? What does that mean? You know, it inconveniences a bunch of people, but it's stupid that something like that is even allowed to happen. That I don't know. I get madder by the day. Yeah, John, we need to start. Yeah, absolutely. We need to start prepping. That's why I'll mention again, I bought all this soup. I went to Kroger's today to buy a couple things for dinner tonight, and I happened to see the soup was on sale, 8 cans for $10. It's normally $2.99 a can. 8 cans for $10, a buck and a quarter a can, about 16 cans for $20. That is 16 meals there that Gail and I can split if we have to for $20. We'll throw some rice, add some rice or vegetable or whatever with it, and we have a meal, in case something happens and we can't go out and get food. Or if the food is gone, you got to keep your eyes open for stuff like that. We're going to try to survive the next 2 weeks off grid through Thanksgiving. Wish us luck with that. Oh, heck yeah. Definitely good luck with that. That'll be fun. Keep us posted how that's going. Because you can let us know on Wednesday nights in here and Saturday nights when I'm out at St. Bernard Acres. So you're going to do that at home, Teresa, or out at your cabin? Which one? I've done weekend runs here where I just shut the power off to the house and say, okay, what are we going to do? We go 3 days without it. You just go to CVS and get their soup. It's pretty good. I haven't seen any more. Yeah, I didn't know they sold it. This stuff, I mean, we eat soup, not every day. So this will go in the pantry in rotation. But to get 16 cans of it for $20 was unbelievable. And like I said, it's always, as we eat the soup, I replenish it. But we always have meals. We're always going to be able to eat. We'll let you know when we get back. We're at the cabin, no cell service. All right. Well, we'll see you in a couple weeks and get a full report then. Make a grilled cheese sandwich with the soup and you're good to go. Absolutely. Like I said, if something happens and we're stuck here, I got plenty of rice. We can make a bowl of rice and pour soup over it. We got plenty of potatoes. We got plenty of other stuff. Grilled cheese, absolutely. We were off grid for 2 weeks thanks to Mother Nature and a bad storm. Yep, that's a good way to test yourself. Definitely. But that's really doing it. No cell service or anything. Good for you, Teresa. That's going to be awesome. I love cooking on the wood stove when you have, would be my feelings and stuff. Oh, he must have changed that. But yeah, it's always good to do the test. There's no doubt. You got to test yourself and you got to, like I was saying with our get home bags, we go out 2 or 3 times a year and take them out and do an overnighter. I love cooking on a wood stove, making soup, chilies when we have. There you go. That makes more sense, John. Get out of here, Teresa. I don't hope it. I don't want no snow. Oh boy, snow will make it more fun and more challenging. There's no doubt about that. I mean, back in the day when I used to love to go backpacking and everything, and I would have Gail, on a Thursday or a Friday, drop me off at a trailhead somewhere, and I tell her pick me up Sunday at another trailhead, 25 miles down the road or whatever, and I just go off into the woods and hike. Friday night, set up camp, get up Saturday morning, have breakfast, tear down camp, hike 10, 15 miles, set up camp Saturday night, and go meet her outside. No cell phone or anything. I used to love that. We can get a signal, but we have to drive up to the hilltop. I don't mind not having a signal when there's many times out at the cabin. I don't film everything out at the cabin, but well, I just sit there. No TVs, no cell phones on, no nothing. I'm just chilling and enjoying like reading a book. Crock pots are great on my solar. Don't use a whole lot of cooked beans and stuff. You know what? I never tried the crock pot on solar. I never even thought, what a great idea. I'm gonna have to look into that. That really, yeah. I guess they don't use a lot of power. I never heard of that one, John. Thank you. I'm glad you brought that one. We might do a test one day where I'll set up my solar out at the cabin. I'll cook some beans and rice in a crock pot and see, because it'll take 3 or 4 hours. I'll see what it does to one of my power stations. Yes, I have to do speech type. Had a story. All right, what are you doing? Doing great on this end, buddy. Here's a double hot plate and a grill. That's what I've got at the cabin. I've got the big hot. I've got power out there now, but I got the 2 burner hot plate, the toaster oven, and I use the grill and the griddle all the time. John, I have a lady I picked up when I was driving the cab, um, who had had a stroke. I took her to her doctor's, and she was the same thing. Uh, she she had to relearn everything. She was a nurse for 36 years, and had the stroke, and she can't really use her hands very well. She's going through all kinds of therapy, but she had to learn to talk again, learn to walk again. You know, I'm real proud of her. She's done so well since then. And even though I'm not driving the cab, I took a break from the cab company for a while. I still keep in touch with her and see how things are going and try to offer encouragement. All right, we're up to 15 people, 15 likes. I'm digging this. For my first time, I'm real happy. I'm so happy you guys are in here, all my regulars. You guys make me proud. Now, um, man, that's just great. I'm going to test that theory, John. I'm so glad you brought that up. That's really neat. I just never even thought about that. I've got a company sending me a uh, um, 460 amp hour 12-volt lithium battery, 460 amp hours. And that's more than the 8 lead acid batteries in my power bank out at St. Bernard Acres. It's more power available. So when I get that, I'll hook up the inverter to that and plug in the crock pot and run a test on. That's such a great idea. Well, Mel, we're Happy to stumble across your channel. We're happy that you stumbled across it. We put that trip line out there for a reason, just to trip people like you. Make you come in here. This is where we discuss prepping ideas and survival ideas. John just gave us a great one. Oh man, I don't have Dr. Pepper. I ain't got nothing to drink. Yeah, that's what John said there, and it makes sense. He said the crock pots don't use a lot of electricity; they don't draw a lot. The slow cookers. So I'm gonna find out because I'm sure gonna make that test. I guarantee you on that one. I'll let you know in the next couple of weeks how that works. Because I've got one of my power stations here, an EcoFlow, for backup here when we lose power. I'll try it here at the house when next time I cook dinner in the crock pot. Tomorrow and Thursday is going to be, or tomorrow and Friday is going to be extremely busy at the house out of St. Bernard Acres. So I won't be doing much then. Got a message from somebody. Not important. I use server rack batteries. They're coming down in price. The Terra server rack batteries. I'm thinking about getting some of them to tell the other ones I bought a lot cheaper. Wow, you got a nice setup. You know, I ran my cabin just fine off of solar for 3 or 4 years before I had to run electric out there. Crockpot's average 75 to 300. Thank you, Arkansas Prepper. But is it, would that be, do you know, a steady draw, a constant draw? Because like the refrigerator, uses 75, 80 watts when the compressor's on, but when the compressor kicks off, it's using 10 watts. So I wonder if it just has to heat up, and the way the crock pots are insulated, they can keep, I don't know if they have to run like that constantly. Because that battery that they're sending me is 460 amp hours. Let me figure out my watt hours. I'll show you how this works. So 460 amp hours times the volts, which is 12.8 volts on those lithium batteries, equals just under 6,000 watt hours. So, yeah, even at 300 watts, that one battery could run that crock pot for 20 hours. So, yeah, new hoverboards input charge. So, yeah, it makes sense. But to figure out the watt hours on a battery. Okay, 180 watts. That battery I have 6,000 watt hours on. So if I use 180 watts of electricity every hour, I can go a long time. I could cook a meal and not have a problem in that crock pot on the solar. That's great. That's absolutely great. What a neat idea. And Teresa will give us a real world test. Yeah, that EcoFlow I've got here, I think it's like 760 watt hours. I couldn't do much with that. Well, one of the things Gary and I are going to do over the next couple of weeks, uh, high efficiency charge at 100 amp using series of the 500-volt panels. Yeah, 50 cents a watt. That's a good deal on panels. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've got plenty of disconnects in my solar system. My whole channel, if you look at St. Bernard Acres, that channel, St. Bernard Acres, I have my entire solar, how I build it all, how it all works, my suggestions for it. Uh, and I just have $100 Walmart batteries, uh, the deep cycle batteries, and they work for me just fine. The only time I ever had to use a generator was if I wanted to run the air conditioner in the cabin. But those $100 batteries from Walmart, I mean, they ran my refrigerator, my lights, my internet, I mean, everything, my security cameras, all of it. So it doesn't take as much solar as people think. I think, a lot of people talk about it and don't know what they're talking about. And people get a false, you know, sense of need from it. But Gary and I are going to cook. Uh, I'm going to cook up a pot of beans and fried potatoes and cornbread. Gary and I are going to do over the fire there at St. Bernard Acres. Take a few hours. We'll build the fire, set the beans on there, go about our day working, and then we'll have dinner. We'll cook everything on the uh, fire pit there at the cabin. Oh yeah, yeah. The crock pot we have here has low, high, and warm. I mean, once they're cooked, they could just sit on warm for a while. I need an outdoor fire pit cooking setup like Wishbone used on Rawhide. There you go. Yeah. I mean, I found those bricks, those landscaping blocks that are kind of curved and made that fire pit out of St. Bernard Acres. Somebody had a bunch of those that were given away. And I was like, oh, hell yeah, I'll take them. But we had rocks up to that point, some bigger rocks. Butt and me a small young turkey. And yeah, I want to know what the heck you're going to do with that turkey, Arkansas prepper. Going to use a crock pot. All right. Yeah, I just, this last couple of weeks, have started doing a lot of cooking with the crock pot. I never used them before, but I love them. Tonight I made chicken pot pie in the crock pot, which means I made all the chicken pot pie stuff in the crock pot, and then I bought Grand's biscuits and put those down and poured that over the biscuits. It tasted great. That was a good meal. The other night I made homemade hamburger helper, which turned out way better than anything in a box and healthier. So I've been learning how to cook lately. Like I don't have enough other stuff to do. But I figure while I'm here, stuck at the house, I may as well learn. John, 500-watt panels for 120 bucks. New. That's ridiculous. That would be worth a drive to Georgia to get a deal like that. Man. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, Teresa, about one that has a pole on each side and one across, the hanging ones. The triangle one is good for, the tripod hanger is great for just one pot if you're doing a one pot meal. But the ones, yeah, that kind of setup. Now, when I move out there next spring, we're going to have an outdoor kitchen area. And that's one of the things we're going to have is have the fire pit with I can cook over the fire anytime I want. Because once that house has, I mean, I'm going to have it dried in this weekend, the whole addition and everything. But once it has a bathroom, the water, and a kitchen, we're moving out there. We're just going to make the move and we can finish it while we're out there. Uh, that's all there is to it. We're done. Hey, Joe, been busy. Yeah. Ridge Runner, what's going on, bud? Glad you got to check this out. This is my new idea for. I'm changing the name of this channel to SBA Prepping and Survival. Taking the bushcraft end off of it because I really don't get to do that much anymore right now. But yeah, I mean, I'm prepared for. Hi, what was in the hamburger helper you made? Uh, Hang on, I'll tell you. I think no, it wasn't that one. It was just the hamburger, some chopped up onion, green pepper, chopped, diced, garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, freshly grated sharp cheddar cheese, and elbow macaroni. You know, just cooked everything in the skillet. It was one skillet, and it just turned out none of the extra stuff that's in the boxes that you buy. Ah, thank you, dog. Uh, Everything but hamburger. Nah, I started with a pound of ground beef, but yeah, it was very good, tasty. Just so different. I think the paprika helped it a lot. Um, I think that's the only extra I used. Some red pepper flakes helped. Um, but yeah, it turned out great. It took the same amount of time too. So it's not like, using the box, um, that like it took longer or something. And it made a lot more. Now, buying the hamburger, buying the noodles, that was the only, uh, once we get out there and get the garden, I'm gonna have my own peppers, my own onions, my own potato, all that kind of stuff. So it made so much that Gail took it to work for lunch. Nick had it for lunch when he got home from work that night, and he had it tonight. Well, the leftover when he went before he went to work today. So it lasted a long time because you got a lot more out of it by making it yourself. Uh, I didn't think chickens had fingers, John. They got skinny ones. But yeah, I've been experimenting with different foods and stuff. I think it's better to cook your own. See, that's the next thing I'm doing is loaded potato soup. Now I made last week I made a cheeseburger bacon soup that had onions and carrots and celery and hamburger and uh, crisp bacon all crumbled up and cheese. Oh my God, that was good. My tripod cook set converts to a horizontal set. Just take it apart to go to round three. Oh, what a great idea, Mountain Man. Uh, oh yeah, that's the kind I want. You got my address? That's what we need. Because there are some times when you're only going to use the one pot. The tripod will work great. And hey, Terry, I got lost and ended up here. Yeah, well, sorry about your luck, pal. It's a shame you had to wind up here, isn't it? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got to look into one of those, Mountain Man. All right. This has been fun. I like we can have prepper chats. We'll get more and more people in here and really learn about prepping and survival and living off grid. All this high tech production, you must be working on a small budget. You know it. That's what I was just complaining about when I started this. Uh, I had uh, I had planned on doing this, starting these on Wednesday nights, and uh, my camera that I use out there, my webcam, I could have sworn I put it in my pack to bring it home to use it. And this afternoon, when I started to get this set up for tonight, I went crazy. I couldn't find that camera anywhere. So then I had to download all this crap, learn how to set up my Samsung phone as a webcam through the streaming software to try to figure out how to make this thing work. Oh my goodness. Next spring, I want to plant a whole bunch of potatoes. One second. So do I. I'm going to. Because I'll be living out there next spring. We're going to have a big old garden. We bought a miniature mobile home, like a tiny house. Just got it moved. Not set up yet. Just sitting on our driveway. Oh, that's pretty cool, John. That's really neat. Is that your blanket behind you, Joe? No, that's actually uh, camouflage netting that I'm hiding all the junk behind. That was just to have a backdrop. But it's going to take me a while to get set up here. I wanted to try a fish cooker out on the deck and use my pressure canner. Mountain Man. If you want to learn more, go to a mountain. Learn more, go to a mountain man rendezvous and see how people live in primitive settings. So I have every intention of doing that, Mountain Man. In fact, let me know the next time one's in the area and I'll drive up there and we can visit for a couple of days and I'll go check it out. I really do want to go see something like that. Fish cooker on the deck, absolutely. Now, I have in my wish list on Amazon uh, a pressure cooker that I want to learn how to can. Now, I'm buying, when I get my Social Security check, I'm buying a water bath canner. And I got a bunch of bottles and the can. I'm gonna start water bath canning things to learn how to do it. Because you especially if you go to these farmers markets. I mean, it's out of season now, but we got Jebbia's down the road, and they'll have sales on a big, massive amount of green beans, and I'll buy that and I'll just can a bunch of green beans. When I find them on sale, until I'm outgrowing my own. But that's something I've got to learn how to do. I've never canned anything, so this is going to be a good experiment. And water bath canning, I mean, I could do that over the fire out at the cabin. A mountain man rendezvous. I never thought about those. Yeah, I could dig checking that out. That would be awesome to go see. I saw a thing on Facebook here. They have a class. This lady puts on a class for canning, and her next class is, I don't know, later this month, and it's on canning meat. But I'm like, you know what? That would be cool. I might want to go check that out. Shit, she wants $75 for it. Miss Racy speaks. Hello, I'm John Off Grid's wife. Well, hello there. Welcome. You're just welcome as he is. He's been giving us good ideas. All right, this is going to be great. I'm glad I decided to do this as this channel builds. This is going to work out good. Yeah, I was telling him I got a company sending me a 460 amp hour battery, and that's a little less than 6,000 watt hours. So I'm gonna cook a meal in a crock pot on that battery. Uh, let's see, prepared for. Are you planning to live stream every Wednesday? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I've had this channel for a while. I've been so busy with other things, that I really have not paid attention to this channel much. And I got to thinking, when I do a live stream at St. Bernard Acres about the house and off grid and, trying to homestead out there and everything, we do a lot of prepping. We get into a ton of prepping discussions there. I thought, well, why don't we have a channel just where we discuss prepping ideas and teach each other about prepping and everything? So I had St. Bernard, SBA, prepping, survival, and bushcraft. I'm like, let's do it. Every Wednesday night, I'll be here doing this. But I'm doing great. And thank you for subbing. This is going to be fun to have people who contribute. We'll get into this. Watch John straighten up. Hey, I wasn't going to tell on him, Arkansas Prepper. I was going to blackmail him later, though. But yeah, all everybody's input is what's going to make this channel great. I want it to be like St. Bernard Acres, where that channel, I get so many ideas from people, and I learn so much from having that channel. Uh, that makes it where, I mean, I don't make any money on it hardly, but I do get a lot of interaction and people as I, because I, built that house. I don't know nothing about this shit, so I learn a lot from everybody on here, and we get a lot of ideas from each other on here. So yeah, this is going to be an every Wednesday night thing for sure. And I have videos that I need to do, review videos on things that will really fit the prepping uh, world better than on St. Bernard Acres. So that's what we'll be doing. I love living off grid. It's changed my life for the better. No power. Absolutely. If you could do it. I mean, I did it in my cabin. It was off grid for years. Um, my thing is, and this is what happens a lot with married couples, right? When you're not really on the same page for certain things. So I had no problems living in that cabin off grid. I mean, that never would have bothered me a bit. Well, Gail wants to move out there, but you needless to say, for that to happen, I had to get electric run out there, or I had to run electric out there. I had to put in the septic system. I mean, all that kind of stuff. She's not as much into prepping, you know. It took me a while to explain why I bought all this soup today, when it was that cheap on sale at Kroger's, but to try to explain the thought behind doing that and the reasons for doing it. But I think it's great to live off grid. Like I said, my thing next spring, I mean, well, like I said earlier, with with the house out there, as soon as I have a bathroom in it and a kitchen, I'm moving out there. I'm going to live there full time. Gail can move out there and live there full time, and I'll finish building. I don't care how much more is left to build. I'll build it while I'm out there instead of trying to live here 65 miles away and work here and go out there and build. We're just going to make uh, we're just going to make it happen. Yeah, prepping is becoming more and more and more and more important. And I think everybody, this whole charade of a government shutdown, if nothing else, it's taught people when you depend on the government for everything, they showed you how quickly they can cut you off if you don't do what they tell you to do. Never get in a position where you're depending on that, you know? And by being prepared, if they hadn't reopened it and started issuing their SNAP money and all that shit, right? By Christmas would be all the riots and everything. I guarantee you. So we were prepared. Uh, well, these I just bought today. This says these are good through August of 2027. So 2 years unopened. 5 years they can go. 6 years. They might not, you know, 5 years down the road, they might not have the same amount of nourishment, but they're still going to be good to eat. They don't go bad. They're completely sealed. As long as the can's not rusted or bent or open, they'll last for years. But this is where this stuff will go in the pantry. This I explained earlier. These are $2.99 a can normally at Kroger's. When I was at Kroger's today, I saw them 8 cans for $10. That's a buck and a quarter a can. I bought 16 cans. I did that twice. I bought 16 cans for 20 bucks. That is 16 meals for me and Gail if it has to be. That's 16 lunches if we couldn't go to the store. And make some rice. I got pounds of rice. Make some rice to put with it. It'll fill you up, right? It's not the greatest, healthiest food in the world, but you're looking at survival, and having to eat. That's there. It's easy to store and it's cheap to buy. They say 2 weeks of starvation and the masses will turn to cannibalism. I don't doubt it. I mean, that's why, you know, I'll be gone 1 second after. I've been eating 10-year-old plus canned food for years. Yeah, absolutely. I don't see a problem with that. Uh, I've eaten canned food that I know is 3 years past due. When I was homeless, I did before there was anything to do with prepping or any of that kind of crap. That was unheard of. I was just merely trying to survive as a homeless person, and I've eaten stuff like that and never had a problem. When you're hungry, you'll eat it. But you know, next year I'll have the garden going. That's going to be a huge game changer. Uh, when I start canning all my own stuff. But I'm going to start out next April with 12 chickens and have the garden going full. And, like I said, that's going to change my life. Just getting to do that finally. I bought 100 cans of corn and green beans. 2-year date. It lasted me 4 years before I ran out. Absolutely, that's how you do it, man. That's awesome, Arkansas Prepper. I saw uh, last week Walmart had cans of corn and green beans and peas and mixed vegetables for a quarter a can, and I bought like 50 cans uh, just to put now. Because we live every day. I mean, that goes into rotation, and every week, whatever I use, I resupply. But I got 50 extra cans of vegetables. That'll last a long time if something happened. They had cured hams from King. I guarantee it was. I have a silver for. All right, yes, indeed. I go to food banks and I save candied goods, get them put back for when things. But absolutely, yeah, I've got a couple of those, John, that you just feed the little sticks into. It'll cook for you. That's the important thing. I did a trade. I gave a guy a truck transmission for $300 worth of newer dated canned goods. That's great. I saw a thing on Facebook Marketplace where somebody was cleaning out a garage after somebody had died or estate or something, right? And they had probably 250 to 300 cans of vegetables and so you canned meats, everything that was, 2 years or so old. And they were free if somebody wanted them. And it's like, holy crap, I couldn't answer that ad fast enough because somebody had already beat me to it. But I would certainly go and grab something like that. I mean, uh, um, I don't, my whole theory of prepping, especially food, is I don't need a 10-year supply of food. You know, I need enough food. This has been my thoughts on prepping, the way I look at it. I need enough food to last me until my first harvest because I'm going to be growing a lot of my own food. I will have chickens, I will have meat chickens, uh, we will have goats, we'll get, whatever. My community out there at St. Bernard Acres, I mean, not really a community, but I got 10 acres. John has, I don't know, 20 some acres. Tim has 20 some acres. Bobby's got 13. But, one person's got cows, one person's got pigs. We all will trade that kind of stuff if something happens. But my goal is just to have enough food stocked to last, 18 months. Hey, Seaway. All right. You're not late. You're on time. This is all brand new. We're trying it out to see what's happening. Uh, but yeah, I think, I see some of these channels that are prepping channels and all they do is buy food. They think that's prepping is buying food. Uh, can can I, heck no, man, this stuff gold. I ain't giving this shit up. I'm gonna barter this. Uh, Prepare John. Yeah, Silver Fire. I have one. I'll do a video of mine. Uh, I'll do a video how I set that up. I'll cook a meal on one of those little stoves like that you just feed the sticks into. It's great. Jamaica's in the middle of a survival crisis as we speak. It could happen anytime, anywhere. Absolutely. It could happen tomorrow here. But I like this. I'm gonna have to get off of here because Nick's gonna be walking in any minute. Uh, yeah, I'm gonna build a rocket stove. I got all. I mean, cinder blocks aren't the best thing to make rocket stoves out of, but I'm gonna build one because I got all the block left over after moving Alex's building over to connect to my building. I got all those blocks left over. I'm gonna build a rocket stove out of those. Tara called my doctor and told him I'd be out of town when my prescriptions would be refilled. I have my regular prescriptions and 90 days extra now. Absolutely. Absolutely. I've got I'm weaning myself off of drugs and prescriptions, fortunately. I'm learning different ways. I mean, I have a 6 month supply of my blood pressure medicine. Um, and that stuff I could easily just cut in half um, because I've learned so much more. But yeah, I mean, medicine's something you got to think about. A primitive brazier. Build a pizza oven, Joe. I'm not a pizza person. I don't know if I have bad soil or what. I have a hard time growing a garden. I have pretty good luck growing potatoes. Hey, but potatoes are a staple. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know you can fix the stuff, dirt. Uh, I don't know how mine's going to go. It's going to be interesting to find out. I have good soil. It looks good. You can get wood chips and make your own soil better, let it rot. Yeah, you can. You can fix it up. I mean, I look at it this way. I'm 68 years old. I'll be 69 next year. And I figured this out. I quit smoking, I quit drinking, I quit doing all this stuff, and I really watch what I eat. I'm trying to do a whole lot better and be healthier and lose more weight. And my thing is, if I make it to 80, I'm gonna be like, fine. I made it to 80. I want fast food. I'll go get it. If I want to start smoking again, I'll start smoking again. You know, just that's the way I look at it. My mark is 80. I have better luck growing peppers and maters in pots on the deck. Deer don't get them. Yeah, that's gonna be a problem I have is the deer. I quit drinking 6 years. Good for you. I quit sometime. I don't even know when. I quit smoking 7 or 8 years ago. And I've been to the doctor. Everything is healthy. I don't have any issues. You know, I got high blood pressure, but I've been fat my whole life, so I accept that. Um, but I'm working as part of my prepping regimen now is to get my weight back down to where it was and get more exercise, get more walking in. But folks, I'm going to have to get off of here. Uh, this is the coolest thing we've had. I'm so happy that y'all made me start doing this. This is going to be absolutely great. Uh, this is going to be fun. Every Wednesday night, remember that. And I'll be making videos and putting it on this channel as well. So we're going to really get this guy. Oh, heck yeah, I got my gummies here behind me. I was out sore as hell last weekend in town. I didn't have any gummies out there to help me. Uh, from 300 to 222. I went from 304 to 230, but then I put 30 pounds back on, 40 pounds back on. Uh, so I'm the same way. That's awesome. That's really good for you. So now you're going to be my inspiration to drop the rest of my weight. But thank you everybody for hanging out with me and the new people. Oh, it's wonderful. Definitely next Wednesday night, mark your calendars, 9 o'clock. Boom. We're going to be on here talking prepping. But thank you all for making my inaugural night so good. Everybody have a wonderful rest of the week. And I will see you this weekend out at St. Bernard Acres. It's going to be a busy few days. And then Saturday night, I'll do my live stream out there on my St. Bernard Acres channel. Thank you, everybody. I'm out.